Okay, team. So I've got the final run. It's probably just a little stimulation, a little call, and a little deep dive into one's life to move themselves forward, probably, and also getting ready for the weekend. So the thought that I had in my mind. So if I could just share, I meet thousands of people in a year, and that's with deep gratitude. Each and every one of them tends to forget that they are also an individual, a living being, a person who's alive, a person who have needs or has needs, an individual that requires the self-nurturing that one should be deserved of everybody within themselves. Everybody that I tend to meet, there's a large chunk of individuals, which all my discers know that sits into what we classify as the S energy, and they tend to reduce their own value, if that makes sense. So my question to yourself is, what about me? So if we tend to ignore what about me in life, there is a conversation that happens that within our unconscious consciousness that says to us that you don't matter. And because of that particular reason, what happens is that we tend to run, if you can imagine an engine, and you get the red line, don't you? So you rev and you rev and you rev to red line. And what we do is the engine's not designed to run at red line. It's designed to run within the band rev width. What we do is when we ignore oneself, we run in the red line. So the only thing that is definitely going to happen, whether we look at it as a spiritual, logical, spiritual, or within health, which we all know starts with the mindset, is that something has to give. If you over rev an engine consistently, the pistons will burn and blow out at some stage. The valves will go, etc., etc. So now the question arises that maybe we might be staying for ourselves at long last. Maybe we might be staying for a little bit of self-enrichment at long last. Could there be a mathematical equation? Could there be a scientific equation that we could use to ensure that we haven't forgotten ourselves, creating a space for oneself? Instead of waiting until a leg falls off, an arm falls off, the head is constantly aching, the body is completely deteriorating. Instead of waiting for that moment, that red line moment, constant red line, what else could one do to actually serve oneself? Because I know each and every one of us in this room is feeling like this at some point in their life, in their week, in their month. And in specific, during the lockdown periods while we're isolating, we are forced to stay within certain key areas. Now, my household is still isolating because we are blessed to have my father, who is in his 80s. So we are still self-isolating. The question I ask everybody, what could we, should we do to self-reflect, to self-heal, to actually allow our minds to move forward with gratitude and blessings for oneself as well? Self-love, if you understand where I'm coming from. In that strong, heart-centered environment. Yeah, look at Sarit's top. There we go. What does it say there? I can't see. Self-love. Hey, there you are. She's in the right space. Could it be that we can use a methodology? And I'm going to share this method with you. You're welcome to use this freely. I haven't covered it yet in any of our daily tips shows. If you haven't subscribed, my request to you is please subscribe at any age to the Sukhi Wahiwala official content YouTube channel. We made a commitment. I'm not sure if you remember, Gary and myself, we decided way back, right at the start of the lockdown period, that we're going to open up all of our knowledge for free during the lockdown period. So we had the Inspired Business Club that was made completely free. So you're welcome to become members of the Inspired Business Club. There are no upsells. There's no hard pounding. Would you like to buy this product? Would you like to jump on this course? It's there for a resource. There's over 600 hours worth of knowledge. On the YouTube channel, it's constantly being updated daily. There's always something new. And if you're enjoying some of these conversations that we're having, individuals, please support us. And let's put our message out into the world. We decided that we were going to help everybody, whether they could pay for it or not. So we opened up all knowledge. Majority of the stuff that we've just released on the YouTube channel is stuff that I would usually have charged for. And for that, we're forever grateful to everybody for support. Please do view if you wish. So the question is, there's a methodology that we call, it sits in the DFT focus side vein of DFT method, which is daily focused time. How do I spend time in the day? How much time do I actually give to myself? Then what specifically do I do to ensure, hope you're listening to me, ensure that I deliver on that commitment as well? That means commitment to self, commitment to saying, well, I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll give myself an hour in the morning and actually give myself the hour in the morning. So what could one do? So we have a facilitation called the 70-20-10. 70% of my time, 20% of my time, and 10% of my time. The whole day, if you take an average day and you start at, let's say, whatever time o'clock you wake up and whatever time o'clock you go to sleep, if you count those hours, in the natural world out there with most humans across the globe, 16.9 hours is the waking hour period, and the rest is spent sleeping. But if I just made an example of basically bringing it down to, let's say, 10 hours, just for mathematical equations, you would take 70% of your waking hours to allocate to a primary task. You would take 20% of your waking hours allocated to a secondary task. And you'd spend 10% of your waking hours allocated to a tertiary task, a third task. So in principle, if it was 10 hours, you would allocate 7 hours to primary task, 2 hours to secondary task, and 1 hour to tertiary task. So a 70-20-10 philosophy. So if I can add to this, I'm going to open this conversation for all of you to talk, and there's a few people who are practitioners in this, and they use this and they add this all the time. 10% must not be removed, ever. 10% is always allocated to self. So let me give you an example. 70%, let's say, to business, to job. 20% to family, and you could say friends. And 10% is given to me time. Now, 10% me time doesn't mean I love speaking to my friends, and that's classified as me time. That's not in classification. That fits into your 20% period. Does that make sense? And if I'm working anything to do with business, it's in the 70% time frame. Now, there is another layer to this where you can actually keep breaking down infinitely the 70-20-10 of each area. But my question to everybody is, what do you do for your own personal 10%? Here we go. Open to everybody. So I'm going to start picking on some people, because some people don't even pay attention to the fact that they are important in their life. And in case we haven't realized, you are very important to your own life. That's you. That's it. Yeah. So if you start to neglect yourself, the only thing you're going to have is a downtime. And you know what we're talking about, the method, this is coming from the principle of today's conversations. We're talking about keeping a positive mindset, all those elements of talking. Well, the question would arise, why would I have to keep a positive mindset in the first place? So I can only be forced to keep a positive mindset if I have a lack somewhere else in my mind, which basically the negative mindset comes through. But if I'm possibly spending my 10% time with self, then all I'm thinking is positive mindsets. And the reflection of this was the age groups, as you went through them a moment ago. You went the 10, you know, the earlier age groups don't even think about positive mindset because they're in the positive mindset principally all the time, because their actual world arrives and derives around themselves. So a question I ask anybody who would like to share. Ravinder.
Me.
Yes, you.
All right. So what do I do? I meditate. I do some Wim Hof breathing in the morning, but then really how I do really look after myself is I practice drawing. So I've got this, I've always wanted to know, always drawn, but I've got this, got a course on Udemy and on my iPad. So I had to draw cartoon characters. So that's how I enjoy my time.
Well done. Thank you for sharing. Who would like to go next? And I'm going to start picking names otherwise. Chris, you've got your hand up.
I like to sort of watch something that's going to make me laugh. So I'll go through Netflix and just look for a sort of a good comedy because it's uplifting. You know, it's always good to have a smile and laughter.
And that's your 10% me time. And is that why I got that picture of your dashboard and you've got my picture next to your screen?
Yeah.
Now I know. Now I know. So Danny, then Lisa, then Jatinder, and then everybody else wants to come off that. Please carry on. Hope this is helping everybody.
Yeah. So for me, is that I get up quite early with a very hectic life schedule with kids, especially the young kids. It's just a case of getting my time first thing as quickly as I can. So I get up very early and my time itself is then consisting of meditation, and which is basically some bard and some reflection. So there's good maybe 45 minutes or so of just doing just nothing but that before I then move on to doing some exercise as well. So I spend about, maybe depending on whether I've gone to the gym, which doesn't happen as frequently now, although I've got a good friend of mine who's given me the keys to one of his gyms. So I've got exclusive access to that, which I don't make too much noise about. But otherwise it's body coach. I just use the PE lessons that Joe Wicks provides, and I find them good enough. And that's my day. I've sweated out whatever toxins and everything else. And then I've also got the focus in my mind for what I'm going to do for the day ahead, and any other lingering thoughts that I've just needed to process, which have just been there that I know I need to kind of get to. I use that time in the morning, and I've started to do something similar at the tail end of the day for anything I've accumulated, rather than just having that morning slot and then finding that at the end of the day, I'm kind of now feeling need to unload. I actually then now have an allocated time, not as much time, but quick 20 minutes, if nothing else, just to decompress as well.
Well done. That's brilliant. I think that's amazing. And if anybody would like to, in this particular point, I'm going to be unashamedly telling you to watch the Daily Tips show, episode 14. I think it went live today, and we talk about BDNF, which is in there. And you just watch it, and you'll understand that we're talking about how to supercharge or create a fertilizer for your mindset. Very important to follow it through. It's easy and it's straightforward. Okay, Lisa, please.
So I've kind of shifted my day. So I actually try and go to bed earlier so I can actually wake earlier. So I kind of tend to wake with the sunrise. So I don't close my blinds. And then I literally get up, put my gym gear on, come and meditate. So I've got a lovely door here. I just open it and meditate. Then I do some writing. And then I do a little bit of exercise from YouTube. And then I go out on my bike. And then I used to do a really long route, but it got tedious. So I was like, okay, just do a short burst of one circuit, and then I come back, get ready, and then I'm good to start my lives at 8. So and I'm juicing a lot as well.
Wow,
so, yeah.
Well done. And remember one thing, everybody must be telling the truth. And I know you all are, but you must be telling the truth, and you must be committed to doing this for yourself. Jatinder, you were next. And who else would like to go after that, please? So we have Renu at the bottom, we have Ranjit, and then Bindi. Carry on. Jatinder?
Yeah, so I think one of the key things has been just carving out time for meditation, which is daily practice, and just doing that regularly without compromise. You know, just making sure that it is done, and that's kind of high value stuff. But one of the other things which I found as a useful technique, which I nicked off Sukhi, was negotiation with yourself. And basically it was around, it was kind of, the question was asked around how he's like, so seems to be so energized at certain points and stuff like that. And, I asked him, and he said, well, he kind of negotiates with himself. That's how I understood it to mean myself anyway. Like, you know, if I know I'm doing a lot of work for the week, for example, and I need to get something done, it's almost like a conversation with myself to say, look, let me get this done, and then sleep in on Saturday or sleep in on Sunday, or just chill out by doing this more, or just having some sort of negotiation so that the body's on board with the whole thing as well, which I think is quite fascinating, because those are people who study hypnosis. They know that, you talk to your conscious and subconscious mind. So when a hypnotist talks to you, they'll talk to your subconscious mind, right? Indirectly bypassing you. So there must be this element of, yourself and something else, a part of you as well, which is helping you. So, I kind of looked at it that way, thinking, well, if you can negotiate with yourself to do things, it just means you kind of, your day just seems to flow better.
Well done. That's actually spot on. And just in case anybody wants to double check, this is CUC, conscious unconscious consciousness. So you ask the question of yourself, and it might be something like this. Jatinder, thank you very much for bringing that up. It might be something along the lines of this, saying, I've got 9 hours to deliver on a training, or I've got 5 hours and I feel exhausted, but I've got this to deliver. And you just ask it of your body and say, for giving me this focus in a gratitude sense, what would you require from me? And the first thing that comes to your mind, don't sit there, start to create massive lists. Just say, it might be go sleep an hour earlier for 5 days. Whatever comes up in your brain, just say, okay, fine. Write it down and say, I promise that's what's going to happen. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to deliver at full pelt. So you deliver at 100%, and you always must commit to that other promise you made yourself. Does that make sense? It's a life changer. Thank you for that, Jatinder. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks for reminding everybody. So next person is Renu.
Oh yeah, so I would say my 10% is definitely training. I like to train nearly every day. That's one thing I have committed to. I do my meditation, but have been slacked a bit, only because my routine's been out of sync, been in lockdown. Because I normally do, that was part of my routine in the morning, getting up early, which I haven't been getting up at 6:30 in the morning. That's not one thing I've been doing, but maybe I've been staying up a bit later to do some other stuff and work. Just educating myself sometimes on people who recommended documentaries or stuff to watch. That's my time just to switch off, to watch things or read things. So I quite like doing that. And then also, I take my time. I like to do my skincare routine in the morning. I like to do in the evening, putting a face mask on, that's me. That's my self-care. That's my time out for me, just to take care of myself, because I'm interested in that. So that's something I really enjoy doing, and it's away from everyone.
Well done. Well done. Thank you for that. And just remember, everybody, please ensure that when you do give yourself that time, that you actually don't multitask, because there's no such thing as multitasking and trying to distract yourself whilst you're thinking you're watching a TV program and having the phone in your hand. That's not downtime, my friends. So you better make sure you keep that in mind as well. I do not apologize for telling it as it is, as it comes through. Ranjit?
I think the challenge of 10% has been more so since lockdown, because the things that you may have just taken for granted, like going to sit in a coffee shop and using that time to work on stuff, you can't do that at the moment. So I've had to kind of change the way I do things, and I do a lot of walking. I must be walking about 3, 4, 5 miles, I think I've done this week, every day, which has been really good. I enjoy walking more than jogging. I don't like getting sweaty and hot and bothered anymore. But the other thing I've started, anything that's actually open, is the golf course. I've actually been going to the golf course most days and just going to the driving range. It's my 10%. I like my own company a lot more than I realised.
Wow.
And I actually don't need friends anymore.
Well, we're chilling it online now.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I just come on here and that's it. That's my friendship sorted.
I love it. I love it. Says a school teacher.
Yeah.
I don't need anybody anymore.
No, that's it. No, I'm done with people. Forget it. Yeah. I guess the last thing to say about that was that since lockdown, those things that you used to do just don't happen now. And I think I went through that period of mourning of things that we don't have anymore, because obviously Leicester's now locked down again. It just looks like it's going to drag on for a long time to come. So really, it's a case of doing things that you can actually do and actually having more time to do them. And I don't rush anymore. I think that's the big thing as well.
Thank you.
I take my time. Like Renu, my wife's trying to get me into a skincare routine in the evenings as well. But I keep refusing. But one of these evenings I might give in.
Wonderful. Thank you. And just to share again, unashamedly, I'm going to tell you, Daily Tips Show episode 1, we already predicted the challenges that the mindset's going to have during the period of lockdown. That's nearly 4 months ago. So please watch episode 1, where we talk specifically about the psychology that goes on. And both Gary and myself, we spoke about a plan. It was inspired by a map and the positionings of each room. You remember, Gary? So we went through the whole room, and the reality is you must allocate a space for yourself at a certain time. And it doesn't have to be with anybody. You need that self-time, okay? Self-love, like what Kiran was saying. So next person is Bindi. So Bindi, please, yourself first.
Yeah, thank you, guys. And I'm going to be completely honest. With my brittle bones condition, a genetic disorder that we briefly touched on in that episode, my higher power, I asked for, I got a 3-wheeler bike, obviously a 2-wheeler bike, someone with osteogenesis, which is osteoporosis, wouldn't be a good idea, two-wheel motorbike, going down the road at, 20 mile an hour. It's not a good idea. I done it when I was a very young little boy, and I broke my femur. So, now I'm 41. I bought a three-wheeler. No word of a lie. You can check this out on my YouTube. Three-wheeler, like little hot rod bike. I bought one about 4 years ago, but it was a really heavy one, and I was that determined to get it. I drove all the way down to Southampton to pick it up in my car, brought it all the way back to Nottingham, realised it was way too heavy. I mean, this thing was really heavy. So now I sold that, and literally, Rabbi Kirpa, thank God, I got another three-wheeler, which was modified especially for a disabled person. Completely light, 6 gears on it, absolutely, fantastic. So at least 2 to 3 times a week, I try to go round the block in my little village out here. I'm from Leicester as well, so God bless, one love to Leicester, and I live up here in North Nottingham now. So I try to ride my bike 3 times a week, and I love it. It gets me excited, it gets a bit of energy, it gets my body moving, which is very important. And if I don't do that, then I like to have a really hot bubble bath.
Woohoo! Well done, like that. I'm coming around yours soon, don't worry. Please do watch the episode with reference to Mindspace, creating that Mindspace. I'm not going to cover it now. It's episode 1. And also episode, I think it was 13. No, it was 13 was DFT. I think it's episode 14. We talk about BDNF as well. So Gurpreet Singh, yours.
Thank you, Buddy. And I'm thankful that I was born in a family where my parents have always been like, Amrit Villa people, and I got into the habit of waking up early. And I believe that it gives you a head start, and that gives me the me time, that I have my mornings to me, and I do the things that I love doing in the morning before my family wakes up or kids wake up, kind of thing. You get pulled into all those things. So my routine, I do my meditation, and then I go for either a run or sometimes just a walk if I'm too tired, and then either cycling, something of that sort, for an hour. And daily I spend at least 1 hour reading books. So I always have a list ready, and then I'm just reading, kind of thing. So that's a couple of hours, exercise and reading books. Those are the 2 favorite pastimes. I read a book by Hal Elrod, Miracle Morning, and it talks about savers. I want to implement the whole thing about, silence and affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading and scribing. So I want to get into journaling, which is something I want to develop as a habit. I do off and on, but it's not in habit. So I want to do that. I think really want to start writing my thoughts somewhere, so I can revisit them.
Thank you. It's spot on, actually. Do read that book. Feel free, Rav, to enter it into the groups. I think you're quite an advocate for that book as well, the 5 o'clock morning. So we have, next was Marcus, and then it's Kiran.
Hi, everyone. Because I'm very passionate about health and fitness, always been. And for me, going for a walk is the most important thing. So I don't know, I'm very inspired. And every morning I used to put some, headphones on, or listening to an audio book and everything, utilizing my time. But then it's the wrong thing. I'm cheating with the nature. So now, because I'm very fortunate. I live, I would say, about 8 seconds away from Ealing Golf Course. And there's a beautiful walk just through the golf course. And there's lots of trees there. And then there's a water stream as well, little wooden bridge top of that, and that leads to the Fit Center Park in Ealing. And it's such an amazing feeling. And whenever I go there, I forget everything, I leave phone and everything back home. And whenever I go to walk, I like to absorb the nature. I like to appreciate the single details of the tree. Yeah. And even when the people playing golf, watching them, watching the birds and everything, the little robin bird there as well, right? Yeah. And it was a single details. And I find that this is the best way to detox yourself. When I used to go, yes, you enjoy the audio, but then I miss the scenery. I miss that duck in that water as well, right? And I said, that's wrong actually. When we talk about mindfulness, it's just like you need to go there and have a walk in the nature with mind. And then back to the another thing is that for myself, self-talk, as Jatinder was talking earlier, it's funny, but you're gonna laugh now. I have an imaginary big brother. I called him Paji, right? And I always speak to him all the time, right? He keeps me on the track, and he was my biggest critic, but same time biggest supporter as well. He lifts me up, and I sometimes find, my God, I'm talking to myself. What if somebody watching me? They're gonna say, my God, this guy is insane, right? But it's delightful, right? It get me through different phases of my life. I gain a lot, I lost a lot in my life, but I think that with my passion for the health, always get me through even bad time as well. I think that the sound body keeps a sound mind, right? If you give your body a tool, the nutrition, right, it keeps you in the right mindset as well. And same time, I'm very spiritual as well, and I do my meditation. It's keep me go through that. Otherwise, it's very easy to get into the trap when we start comparing ourselves with other people. And this is my here. I love walking. It's clear my mind, and yeah, that's it really. And speaking to my friends.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Everyone's dropping so many gems. I just want you to listen to yourselves. Just make sure you're actually doing what you're doing. Gary, I know you've got to go very shortly because you've got little piddlers that you've got to feed, and unless they're going to be hanging on your ears and toes. Do you want to share something before you disappear?
Yes, Sukhi. I mean, for me, the 10% me time, which you talked about earlier with the 70-20-10, for me, motorsport, and I've just put a note in the chat, walking the dogs in the morning, just following on from what Marcus is saying, the hour I walk the dogs in the morning, or the half hour I walk the dogs in the morning, for me has been, particularly during lockdown, blissful, because with little traffic around, just hearing the birds, you could actually hear the dogs' feet in the grass, which, you know, until now I haven't been able to hear that properly, but actually hearing them walking through grass, because there's no other sounds around other than the birds singing and things like that, has been absolutely amazing. But as I said, for me, my 10% is enjoying watching or being part of the motorsport fraternity. That for me is something that really takes me out of daily grind, daily movement, daily life. And even during the lockdown, being able to watch it on a virtual basis has been equally relaxing for that 10% time.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for that. Kiran, it's yourself next. Thank you.
Okay. So for me, I have experienced a 10%. Ordinarily in life, I've always woken up and I've prayed. But during lockdown has been very challenging. So I was on medication for PTSD, trauma, etc., etc. And what I decided to do just before lockdown was go cold turkey, which was against the consultants. Yeah, it was against the consultants' recommendation, but it quite clearly left a chemical imbalance, which led me to trying to commit suicide.
Oh, God,
and that's not me as a person. So
thank you for sharing.
Also, I had an injury which prevented me from going to work, and then lockdown happened, and coming out of the toxic relationship, everything happened at once. Coming off of medication, it made me into somebody that I wasn't, and where my core has always been upbeat, positive, an achiever, I was becoming something that I wasn't. But during that, what I discovered, I started waking up between 3 and 4 o'clock, and I'd spend about 2 hours, and I would start off by doing yoga exercises, breathing exercises, and then 5 prayers, 5 various prayers in the morning. And those days I had so much energy to, even though I had less sleep, I had so much more energy, and I felt so much peace. I could tune in hearing the birds are like, they've all got speakers, are just so loud all of a sudden, and just really relaxed. That the quality of me time was unbelievable. But as the lockdown happened and things started getting, you know, things like Groundhog Day, and it's one day, the week amalgamates, and then it got another month, I stopped waking up at 3 o'clock, and I just used to lie in bed and just not have the energy to go. But listening to this has made me feel that is exactly what I need to do, just rather than staying in bed and just clock watching, get up and reconnect. So it's been really, really good. Thank you.
You're welcome, Gideon. I'm not sure, I'm just going to share on behalf of everybody who's still in this room with us. Each and every one of us will easily be here. We'd love for you to continue to be within our team. And personally, thank you very much for being so open and honest on your very first visit with us. You know, honestly, the team that we've created is a genuine, open-hearted individuals. All of us connect together with a safe space. Personally, to every one of you, if you ever want to talk to me about anything, anytime, text me and I will do my best, okay? If you use normal text, I always communicate quicker as opposed to WhatsApp. So well done to you. And I'm going to say, you know what, anytime, and I'm going to say this just a bit Punjabi, Harvey Amrit Vela. So get up, get yourself clear. If you're waiting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, either do your part meaning prayer, or listen to it, but get up and get out. You know, whenever you're awake, you're awake. And what will happen is that if you wake up earlier, you'll end up sleeping earlier as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
and it happens naturally. So God bless you. And I'm really, really proud that you're in a family. And whether you like it, lump it, we're going to grab you and keep you coming now. I hope you're enjoying yourself. Okay.
Thank you.
Who'd like to go next?
Okay. So my 10%, to be honest, I actually struggled with it a little, because I just wanted to make sure that everyone was safe and you know, comfortable in their own right. But then I just kind of realized that if I do that so much, then you know, I need that time as well. So then I again, it's the power of prayer for me and meditation, and so reconnected. And like Kiran just said, you know, when you focus on something so much that you know, wonderful things do happen, and really got that clarity from the same 5 prayers, Kiran. So, you know, I just, yeah, it's the clarity and meditation and prayer for me. So, yeah, I felt better after that.
Thank you. Romy, and then Meva Singh. Romy?
Yeah, hi there, guys. Yeah, I'll just be brief. Yeah, for me, the quality alone time is with music. And, you know, discovering artists on Spotify or listening to your favorite track, you know, and yeah, I agree with Marcus too. I mean, I try to isolate that from, you know, daily walk. But yeah, for me, inspirational music, it puts you in a different mindset, and it's all me, that 10% plus.
I really, really, really resonate with that one. I love music and the
Music
resonance
is my
of music.
first love, so.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. Thank you for sharing. Keep that one up as well. Meva Singh, are you there? Would you like to share just what you do for yourself in your time, when your personal time? And obviously, please, if you're sharing, team, please do actually do this for yourself. Please focus.
I do the part in the morning, nice and early.
For anybody else's prayer, just as the
prayer. Yeah, I do the prayer in the morning. And I like to spend some time in the garden quietly, talking to plants, and spend quite a bit of time in the garden, peaceful, seeing the birds. And mostly because lockdowns, I cannot do training, but I love going to training 5 times a week.
Wonderful. Because
lockdown, I can't go out. I've been told, children, you can't. At the moment, I'm a bit frustrating because yesterday was 40 years since I lost my leg.
Wow.
Feel a bit down, but after listening to you, everybody here today, I feel now I shouldn't be down. I've got so many friends there now.
Yes, that's it. That's exactly right. I've got to say, you know what? Each and every one of you must remember, none of you are alone. Don't disappear anywhere. We're all here together. We're one mankind, and we're all the one race, which we were talking about earlier on.
Yeah.
Please don't ever feel that you're alone.
Yeah, but it's the only thing is for giving 10% up to now, I don't think I've given that much sort of time in my life.
Thank you for being honest with yourself.
Yeah, so I will be starting from next Monday. I will officially retire from next Monday. So I'll be spending more time with myself.
This man's amazing us every single day, isn't he? Every single time he opens his mouth, I'm unassuming nothing, but I'm retiring next week. Oh, I'm unassuming nothing, but it's been 40 years. I'm only training 5 times a week. Well done.
Yeah, I'm looking for a new challenge. I saw when I got up yesterday morning, and I saw advertising saying next 12 months climbing either walk it or in your own time next 12 months for Land's End to the John Groom.
Oh, Land's End to Jonah Groats. Wow.
That's a challenge I saw yesterday, and I thought, well, it's very tempting. Wow. But after listening to somebody up here today, they said, don't take a big step, try to start with smaller steps.
Agreed.
So I probably carry on a bit of another year or so doing 5, 10, 15 Ks a day. That's my training session will start. And,
did you hear that?
Yeah, the only that's what I'm starting doing 10 now already. So I'll be doing 10, 15, then increasing slowly. But eventually, I think by the end of the year, I think I will do 300 kilometers in 1 month. So that's the challenging myself.
I can do 300 millimeters.
Oh, how big is that? How big is it?
I've already done it, so you worked it out. That's moved.
Oh, it's bigger than I thought then.
Oh, yeah, sir, you are an inspiration, and may God continue to give you that lease of life that actually just completely is infectious to us all.
Yeah, because I'm not good at IT or paperwork. I'm probably good at practical work.
Well, one great thing that comes from this is what Jitendra was saying about talking to self is whatever I say, I am. So the words after I am, just be ready to accept that's what's going to happen. So if you say something like, I am not good at something, that's what's going to happen, because the unconscious brain is going to produce that for you. And we had another conversation, and if you end up turning that to, I am pretty good at something, or I'm progressing, or I'm evolving, or I'm getting better, that's what the brain produces for you as well. And we were talking earlier on about hypnosis. The second that the beta brain was installed or evolved in man, that means our consciousness, that is the second that we already started hypnosis. If everybody thinks that hypnosis does or doesn't work, does anybody ever think anything in their mind that they don't make public? Yeah, that little conversation between what we call the conscious brain and the unconscious brain. Well, that's actually hypnosis. So welcome to the world of hypnosis. If you don't think hypnotherapy works, well,
Sukhi, can I just quickly add there? I did a program called Rajan and his Evil Hypnotist. It was back in 2006, all on YouTube, and hypnosis really works. I've seen people.
What was it called again?
Rajan and his Evil Hypnotist, and it's on. It was for Channel 4. And check it out. But it absolutely works. 50% doesn't. 50% it does.
Brilliant. Thank you. Has everybody enjoyed today, and has everybody had something practical to take through to the weekend to start their day? And we apologize for the overrun, but that was by demand from you guys. Is that all right?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. I really am so humbled that we're all doing this.